We're back!
Generation Tech, the weekly videocast for your inner geek, bringing you the hottest tech news from around the world. Brace yourselves, the show's about to start. It's Generation Tech. Here's your hosts, Rich Nieto and Matthew Burrows.
And what's up, everybody? As you can see, we're back. We're better than ever. We've got an intro even. We're official. We got that British girl going with the voiceover, you know.
DJ
drops, you know, whatever.
No, that's Kimmy Pops on Fiverr. She just became a super seller or whatever today, actually. So, yeah, go hit her up if you want some similar things like that. She can pretty much do anything.
Yeah, go hit her up. But anyway. So... we took a little hiatus. You know, we were off for pretty much for the entire summer, just to enjoy summer pretty much. There wasn't a lot of tech news, so, but now we're back just in time for the Apple event that was just this last Tuesday.
Yep.
A lot to talk about. I mean, there's so much to get to discuss about that. I have so many opinions about every single thing that was discussed on that day.
So many opinions.
But let's start off talking about your phone situation, because you were so excited to get an iPhone 6 when it was announced, and not anymore.
Yeah, well, all right, so I switched providers from AT&T to Verizon, so obviously I had to get a phone when I switched over, and yeah, so I decided to obviously not get the 5S, because it was just I don't want a 5S, it's going to be old news, and so I picked up a G3. So yeah, it's pretty nice. Sticking with the Android experience is not what I was expecting, but I mean I like it so far. It's my first new Android. It's running KitKat. It has a Qualcomm 950 processor. I don't even know, but it's really nice quality overall for an Android device, and yeah.
I heard it's a good phone. You know, my friend, he switches between phones like crazy. Literally, every time I see him, he has a new phone. He has the Moto, not the Moto, the M9.
HTC.
Yeah, HTC One M9.
Yeah.
Really nice phone. I actually like it. I was using it for a while. I think the next one he wants to get is the LG like you have. So maybe I'll play around with it a little bit and see how that goes. But that means no iPhone for you. How disappointed are you in that?
I mean, kind of disappointed, but the iPhone looks really nice, but it's also nice to have two operating systems that I could go with. So Android, which is more an open platform for apps and other things, I can root the phone, I can put ROMs on it and stuff like that, which I wouldn't be able to do with my iPhone. But yeah, I'm missing out on the integration with my Mac and OS 10.9 Mavericks or whatever it's going to be, 10.10, I think. And so yeah, obviously I'm missing out on that, but other than that, I'm enjoying the experience so far. So it's not really letting me down at all. I still like the device, very good device. And I've only had Android phones, so I guess I'm sticking where I'm familiar.
Yeah. And that's the one thing I would really miss is the new integration with not Mavericks, Yosemite and iOS 8 because of the continuity stuff. I had the beta for both of them, and it works really great. I can answer phones on my Mac. I could write a text message on my Mac and continue on my phone, and vice versa. It all works great. And, you know, that's the one thing about being in the ecosystem is that everything works together, you know. But other than that, glad to hear that you're enjoying the LG. It looks like it's a great phone. You're about to get a case really for it, so...
Yep.
Well,
the Spigen Slim Armor.
Love Spigen.
White, Glacier White. Spigen,
SPG. I don't know. They call it a bunch of different names. But anyway, enough about Android because we got a lot of iPhone and Apple stuff to talk about. So
yes,
away we go. And here
we
got the iPhone 6 hands-on right here. We're not going to go too much into specifications because you guys all know. I mean, there's 4.7-inch screen, 5.5-inch screen, all the specs, better camera, blah, 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 blah. But the big thing I want to talk about is the two different sizes. So 5.5-inch and a 4.7-inch, that's been rumored since we've been doing Generation Tech way back when. We've been talking about it every week. And they were spot on. The leaks were spot on. The prototype displays were spot on. So what do you think about the two different sizes? If you were to get an iPhone, which one would you get and why?
Well, the phone I have right now, 5.5-inch touchscreen, actually. Obviously, it's not like Retina or anything, but it still is a really nice display. And I'm already getting used to the 5.5 inches, like watching videos or even going on like Twitter or Facebook. It's just a lot easier for me. And a lot of my friends have like the 5S or the 5 and or the 5C, and the screens are way smaller. Like now that I've been using this phone, and my old phone was even smaller than the iPhone. It was like 3.6 inches, I believe, 3.7 inches. So I'm definitely liking the bigger screen size. So I would definitely go for the 6 Plus, or so definitely go for that over the iPhone 6.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, it's weird because when a while back, before all this was rumored, I said I would never get over a 5-inch screen size on my phone because that's just way too big. I know a couple of friends that had the Note 2, and it just looked huge, man. But then everything changed when I got my Note 3. Now, granted, it was a bigger screen size than the Note 2, but the actual overall area is smaller because the bezel, as you can see, is super, super tiny on both sides, all around. So, I mean, this is actually what the 6 Plus is going to be like in terms of size. I think it's going to be much thinner than this not much, slightly. But the overall space and in your hand feeling is going to be pretty much the same spot on. So I'm going to opt for the 6 Plus. I'm going to pre-order it tonight, 3 o'clock in the morning, setting my alarm clocks. So, but it's interesting because I told Kelly she's also due for an upgrade. So I asked her, which one do you want? Do you want the smaller one, the big one? I'm trying to coax her into getting the big one because it has better features, which I'll go into later. And then I told her, here, hold this and see what you think, because this is pretty much the 6 Plus size. She held it up to her face. She's like, nope, not going for it. Give me the smaller one. And, so I'm going to get her a gold iPhone 6, not Plus. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to order both tonight and be able to compare them. But I don't know. It's not that 0.7-inch difference from the 4-inch size on the 5S. It's not a huge difference,
Yeah, for sure. But another thing, if you're torn between the two over the screen size, like if you think it's going to be too big, iOS 8 actually has features specifically for the 6 Plus, such as, I believe, if you double tap the home button or the fingerprint scanner, it actually cuts the screen in half, kind of brings it down, so you can actually use the top half of the screen with the one hand, especially if you have a smaller hand. So you can still, I'm sure over time you'll get used to that, using that feature. So definitely give that a try if you go to an Apple store or something. Like once they're released.
And that's the problem with Apple, because they don't actually have display demos in the stores until it's actually released. So I went through this issue last year with the Gold. I didn't know what the Gold looked like. I mean, in person, it's very different than the mock-ups, than pictures online. So I opted not to get the Gold. Granted, now looking back, it looks nice. I'm still glad I didn't get it because I would have gotten tired of it. Kelly has the Gold one. She's happy with it. She wants a gold iPhone 6 now, so she's obviously happy with it. But
I think that's what we talked about when it was getting released. Like a lot. I mean, no offense, people who have gold iPhones that are guys, but I feel like women really hit off with that. That was a real big thing to pull women into the market.
For sure. And I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to get the black, the space gray, or the silver. I've had every single iPhone was black, except this past year. The last couple months, I've had a white iPhone because I swapped from work. So it was nice to have a different change of pace for once. But I don't know. I'm gonna make a last minute decision tonight. But anyway, going back to what I was talking about before, the 6 Plus has a couple extra features. Like you can actually, like the iPad, you could turn it sideways, landscape, and your entire home screen is sideways as well. That's an awesome feature. I mean, then you could type like this,
It's going for the phablet.
Yeah.
features because they're assuming that's how people are going to use it. I mean, back again, just a reference. I'm a pretty big guy. Rich would probably be like the same
Oh.
with how to handle this, and yeah, I can easily I can type either way, and I can handle the phone easily. So I have no problem with this. So if you're like a pretty much average guy, you shouldn't have any problems. But I mean, if you have smaller hands, then definitely give it a try.
I think the biggest problem people are going to have with the larger phone is actually putting it in their pocket. I don't have a problem putting this in my pocket, but I guess if you're a smaller person, or
you have smaller pockets,
or you wear tighter pants, you might have an issue. But for the average person, I don't think that's much of an issue. And a lot of people also think, oh, I'm putting it up to my face, it looks weird. It really doesn't. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do people make phone calls anyway? Most of the time you have it in both hands typing away. So.
Or like in your car and you're just literally listening through the speakers of your car and talking to whatever.
Via Bluetooth.
That's how I use it. And I don't know, I don't really make phone calls anymore, but with the bigger screen sizes, actually a lot of people ask me like, oh, what phone is that? That looks cool. And my band teacher, I know it's kind of a random story, but he actually, so he confiscated my phone today because I had it out in class, and he's like, see me at the end of class. And he's like a younger guy. He's probably like mid-30s. He's 36, I think, same year as my mom. And so he's like, yeah, I just wanted to test it out, see what the iPhone 6 Plus would feel like. And because he's an iPhone user, and he always gets the new iPhones. And he was really happy with how this felt. So hopefully he's happy with the iPhone 6 Plus. So that's exciting for him.
Well, hopefully you didn't.
As he should be getting.
Hopefully you didn't have too many naughty pictures in there, because he looks like he had a little bit.
Dude, I just got it. All right.
Oh, so
I haven't gotten into the main. You know what I'm saying? No,
all right. So if he took it 2 months down the road, he might have had something to worry about. Because there's no fingerprint sensor on that thing to lock people out of your phone.
No, there's just a password.
So if you look at this picture on Engadget, it compares the size of the 5S, the 6, and the 6 Plus, and you see.
Yep.
How big of a difference it is, especially coming from the 5S to 6 Plus. It's a nice big change, and I really like it. Not to mention the screen resolution is actually 1080p on the 6 Plus as opposed to 720p on the 6. So a lot of people are saying there's not too much of a difference when actually you're looking at it, but still, I think us being tech geeks, I still want to have the latest and greatest and the biggest. Baddest spec wise, I feel like if I got the 6, I would feel shortchanged for the year I had it,
Yeah, for sure. 1080p is a big feature now. I mean, when I'm going for a device, I'm expecting at least 1080p, if not more. Especially now that I'm used to the Retina on my computer, and hopefully 4K at some point, or IPS definitely. Soon. So
the thing is, the Note 4 was announced a couple of weeks ago, and that has the same resolution as my iMac, 2560 by 1440.
Yeah, it kind of blows it out of the water.
that just like really, 1080p is the starting point for especially a big size phone like that. So
It's kind of like the 720p when that first came out. It was now it's like 1080p, and then there's 2560 by 1440, and then more.
Yeah.
3K, 4K, and I believe recently, kind of going off again, Dell just released a 5K display, even though it's technically more resolution than 5K, but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, 720p was around when the Note 2 came out way back a couple of years ago. So, it's Apple a little bit always a step behind. That all the Android fanboys are always going to comment, these features, it sounds like the Galaxy S3 I got a couple of years ago. But, it is what it is.
See, like, I'm an Android user, and I don't like the Galaxies. My dad is, like, really big advocate for Galaxies. He had the S2, and now he has the S4, S5, whatever. They're all the same. But I don't like them. Like, I like know people with them, and I'm like, oh, can I just try it out for a minute or whatever in study hall? And it's like, the screens aren't bright. They're not really contrasty. It just feels weird. there's not really a good way to explain it, but it just feels weird.
Yeah, even though the Note has a 1080p resolution, I don't really notice a big difference because maybe it's the AMOLED screen. You know, it's always a little bit
Yeah.
more. It has a different look to it than an LCD or any other.
It's a bit more like, I don't know. It feels like there's like a film in front of it or something. That's how I always kind of perceive it.
Yeah, I mean, also Android is not really eye candy. You know, I mean, iOS 8 looks really good. I think it's really
Yeah.
bright. Android.
Does the Note 3 have KitKat on it?
This one, no, not KitKat.
Oh, so my phone has KitKat on it. It actually looks pretty good. I don't know if you guys can see that. Looks pretty decent.
Yeah. Honestly,
It's nice and sleek.
I don't even know what version this has. This has 4.4.2.
So hit that and hit it a bunch of times. Does it come up with a jelly bean or a kick? Okay.
Oh, it's a K.
So you have KitKat.
Oh. Well, I'll be anyway. The more you know.
So yeah.
I feel like it's not the same KitKat as like on your phone though. Yours has a different. Obviously, yours has the H.
Well, there's different. Mine has the LG overlay, but it's actually not. There's nothing there. It's pretty much stock. They just have a bunch of apps in there. But with KitKat, I don't know if you know this. Quick little tech tip: if you hold down on like say an app, a standard app like Camera, if you hold down on it on the main menu and then release it again, it comes up with like a little edit tool, and you can change the looks of it. I can show you guys more later in a separate video, but it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
You can actually import your own images and design your own apps that way.
See, I don't really tinker around with it that much, so I don't really know too many of the little customizations.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that you can go into.
But going back on topic, so iPhone 6, I really think it's a big upgrade. I mean, not just in terms of the size, but you know, it has a better camera. I mean, we're talking about the 6 Plus because it has the better stabilization, all that stuff. And even though, as Arden mentioned in the chat, the camera sticks out a little bit in the back, I don't think that's a big deal because you're gonna have a case on it anyway. So you know, unless you go naked,
normally that case evens out.
Yeah, it sticks out past even the camera will.
Yeah.
So that to me that doesn't even matter.
And that's gonna be a given with how thin these phones are getting now. So.
I was reading that the thickness of phones actually depends on the camera because that's the thickest part of a phone these days. And as you can see here, this has no case on it, this Note. It actually bumps out as well. So it's nothing new. Android phones have it as well. So it's not that huge of a deal. But I really like the design of the actual iPhone. I think it looks really minimalistic, obviously, Apple. I like the rounded edges. I was really liking the squared edges for a while there with the 5 and 5S, and even the 4. But I'm glad they changed it up a little bit. You know, I think it's a nice change of pace. You know.
Yep. And even still, the just note the 6 is 6.9 millimeters thin, and the 6 Plus is 7.1, which is still 0.5 millimeters thinner than the iPhone 5S.
Actually, sorry to interrupt you. It's 7.1 millimeters for the 6 and 7.4 for the 6 Plus.
It's not what this image says.
I could have
from Apple.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a thing here. Anyway.
I'm looking at the one on computer.
There's a slight difference between the sizes, but they're both thinner.
They're both thinner than the
5S. So,
which is still really amazing.
It's crazy to think that they're getting thinner and thinner. But
and I think a big thing with that is how they sleeked out the buttons instead of having circles or circular ovals.
So for the longest, Apple has always had small iPhone screens. I mean, for the longest it's been 3.5 inches. Just recently with the 5 and 5S, it's been 4 inches. So that's really, I know this firsthand that people have been moving away from iPhones to go to Android because they want the bigger screen sizes. Apple doesn't offer any big screens before yesterday or the day before, and so I know many people that actually made the switch over to Android. And now that they have things available that are bigger, they're looking to come back to the iPhone realm. So I think because the phones like the Note and the phone that you have, the LG, a lot of people were flocking over to that because of the huge screen size. It might cannibalize their sales now. Android phablets or big screen phones might see a real big decrease in sales from now on, because and now that Apple has something available to them, they might get going back. I was asking my friend, the one that gets a phone like every 3 weeks, he's not going to actually go and get the new iPhone, surprisingly. So I got to ask him why. What's the reasoning behind that? I think he's just happy with Android now. To be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I'm kind of surprised. Like, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised for design wise. But like, I'm surprised that iPhone 6 Plus didn't come with like a stylus of sorts. I mean, they could have went on with a whole nother line of products as styluses.
Well,
and I mean, I don't know. I feel like some people. I know a couple people with the Note 3s, and they use their stylus. I know not everyone does, but a lot of people they do. So I don't know. For that big of a screen, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to include one.
I use it once in a while on my Note. I feel like it's not really that useful to me personally, but I don't think Apple will ever use a stylus. I don't know if you remember from the very first iPhone introduction Steve Jobs did way back in 2007.
He was against styluses.
Totally
right?
against.
I think it was
because back then.
Yeah, it was just the PDAs.
Yeah,
right?
Because back then PDAs and all those clunky phones used stylize, and I just don't picture them doing that. The way they see it, it's just clunky and unclassy, and they just want nothing to do with it.
I mean, they could make it classy. They can make it flush with the phone, not even know that you had it until, surprisingly, oh my god, a stylus.
Well,
but then again, you could always lose it, and then there goes away the sleekness.
Yeah, and you could always use a stylus if you wanted to. Just buy one separately. It just won't be flush in the inside of it like in the Note, where it just goes boom.
And it won't be Apple branded.
Yeah, that too. But I'm happy there's no stylus. I don't really want one or ever desire one, even for the iPad. I know people that use styli with the iPads, and it looks weird. It's really just don't do it. Don't fucking do it, please.
Yeah, Bamboo makes a couple good styluses as well for mobile devices. Which, I mean, I'd rather trust a brand like this that actually does graphic pens and tablets and stuff. So if you want a stylus, go check those out.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it on the physical phones.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna be pre-ordering at 3:00 in the morning. Set my alarm, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is they're actually doing pre-orders this time. I mentioned this a couple of times on Twitter, but pre-orders have been a thing every year. It's always a week before, the Friday before, they'll do pre-orders at midnight Pacific time. But last year, for some reason, with the 5S, they skipped the pre-orders. So what you had to do was either line up that Friday on release day at an Apple store, or you could wake up at midnight on release day and order it, not even pre-order it. So you would get it.
Yeah, I remember you were like, oh, man, I got to go to work, and now I got to get up at 12 or whatever to pre-order my phone. Or I think you just stayed up.
No, I woke up, but besides the point, like, everyone was getting iPhones that Friday, and I had to wait until the following, like, Tuesday to finally get it,
Yeah.
And meanwhile, apparently, the store by my job, which is the Grand Central store, they had a bazillion phones. So I could have walked in and get one, but since I had mine ordered, and it was using my upgrade, I couldn't just walk in and get it. And if I did cancel that order, it takes about a day or two for your upgrade to process. So by that time, I'm pretty sure there would have been no phones left. So it really just upset me, because I know someone from when I worked, he literally walked into the store that morning, waited no time in line. Like, he didn't line up before the store opened. He just walked in like at noon, and he got a brand new iPhone 5S in gold. Like,
and then you're like left outside in the window looking in. You're like,
shit, man, really?
No phone for me.
Yeah, no, never. Because I always get.
And then I remember you changed your phone color like the next week or whatever, like a month later.
I wanted to.
Then you had to go through that again.
No, they wouldn't let me, because I would have. I would have had to return my phone, wait a couple of days without a phone, and then hope that there's a phone available, which back then it was impossible to get. So I just stuck with it.
Yeah, it was really scarce.
Yeah, especially the gold, the white.
Oh yeah, that was like a really rare find. Now you can get it anywhere. They actually stopped selling 5Cs, and they're just running their quantities right now. They're not making them at all.
Oh, really?
So, yep,
Oh,
that's a canceled device on their
oh,
iPhone
I didn't realize
list.
that.
It is discontinued.
I
Yeah,
know
not a lot of people do.
it's free with a 2-year upgrade, but I didn't realize they completely got rid of it. But,
You can't. You really won't find it. Like my sister wanted that, and we went to a Best Buy, like a big Best Buy in the main mall. It was our central mall, and Best Buy and the Verizon store never. They didn't have them in stock, or the Verizon store did, but they were very limited quantities. So, yeah.
well, good riddance, because I wasn't a big fan of it to begin with.
I didn't. That was just a really bad filler.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess we should move on to another big feature that we would like to discuss, which is the Apple Pay.
No, we're talking about Apple Watch now. Apple Watch.
Oh, that's a thing.
That's a thing. It's not the iWatch.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's not the iWatch, which I'm gonna keep on calling it.
That would have just been really cheesy.
Well, I don't know, cheesy.
I think it sounds better, Apple Watch.
So, I was thinking about why they didn't call it the iWatch and they're calling it an Apple Watch. I really stands for internet, so it's an internet phone. Way back when they introduced the iMac, it was Internet Mac, stuff like that. This doesn't really connect to the internet. It's kind of a tethering device. So maybe that's their reasoning behind not calling it an iWatch, rather they call it an Apple Watch. That's the only thing I can think of. But besides that, I think it's a fine name. It's just, you gotta keep calling it Apple Watch. Otherwise, if you just call it Watch, it's like, watch. It's whatever.
Hey, I got that new watch.
What
thing. Kind of watch you get?
But they showed off 3 different models, and they're not really all that different. It's just what the metal's made out of. So they have the regular watch, which is a black aluminum type, which you see right here. Then they have the Sport Edition, which is a aluminum lighter weight kind of thing. And then they have
Does it have a rubber band? I saw one with a colored band.
Yes.
Is that the sports one?
That's the sports one, but you could still put it on any other model. And then they have the Watch Edition, which is kind of a weird name also, and that's 24 karat gold, I believe. It's like the fashion model of their watches. And it was interesting because before leading up to this announcement, they invited a lot of people in the fashion industry to the keynote. And a lot of people were speculating, this is going to be really a fashionable device. It's not just about the technology. It's about actually making it look good. And if you looked at the introduction video that they showed at the beginning, you showed all the different bands, and some of them are really classy looking. I mean, and then there's some that are obviously more sports related, with the rubber, but
yeah. And it's all like magnets, how it clicks in. Yeah. Doesn't look like it's going to wear out as quickly as a classical clasp would on a fairly decent watch. I mean, for around the same price, eventually it'll wear out, but nicer watches, you won't get that effect. But it looks pretty nice. One thing that I did kind of like, I don't know why this, like in the kind of the commercial, I guess, for it, there's like a Mickey Mouse clock, and he's like tapping his foot for the seconds, and then his hands are like the
minute and hours.
Yeah, dude, that's sick. Yeah. Not gonna lie, that was pretty cool. I have to admit.
Yeah, that's one of the watch faces, and I think that was actually available with the iPod Nano. I don't know if you remember. Some people use that as a watch as well. Yeah. And they have different faces, and I think the Mickey Mouse was one of them, way back when.
Yeah. I went to go buy one of those, and they discontinued it. Like when I was gonna go buy it for the watch feature. Yeah. For an iPod Watch.
Interestingly enough, I had the original iPod Nano. And there was a recall on it for whatever reason. I think the back scratched too easy, so it was a whole class action recall thing. So I sent it in, and they sent back the iPod Nano, which was that model specifically. Back then, it was brand new, so I got that for free. Yeah. I mean, that was a nice upgrade. I still have it. It's a nice little form factor. And
they should have recalled the original iPod Touches for the back plate scratching.
Yeah, I think there was actually like a lawsuit. We got like some money back for that one also. But the watch, I think it looks nice, but it looks like a first generation device to me. So
It looks like the G Watch or the Samsung Galaxy Gear 2 or any other watch that has been out right now. So, I mean, I think a lot of people are a little let down by that because everyone was like, oh, they don't want to mess up like the G Watch. Or, I mean, the G Watch didn't really mess up, but the Galaxy Gear definitely. They're like, oh, it looked too plain, too square. And, I mean, it doesn't look too different. It just looks like it has an Apple-esque looking bezel and side trim. But, I mean, I don't see anything really classy about it. You know?
Well, it looks cleaner than the other watches.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot going on. Very minimalistic. But to me, it just looks a little too big and bloated, if that makes any sense.
Like it looks like kind of fat.
Yeah.
On the sides, like it goes out, and then that huge like button thing, kind of like it's like a multi-function
crown,
button.
the digital crown,
Yeah.
they call it.
It's weird.
Yeah, but if you look back at the first iPhone, the first iPad, back then they looked good, but looking back, they didn't date very well because they were
like
really
humongous.
big, huge, and
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a lot going, especially the iPad. I don't know, for some reason, man. Like when you see that, you're just like, holy shit, man. I actually use that
Well,
thing.
it's like super thick.
And it had that bubble on the back, you know, the same thing as this one. But back then, like when those were first released, like no one really thought anything of it. This looks like a first generation device. Like I don't know, for some reason, I can totally picture the next model being so much thinner, boxier even, you know, and just I don't know. There's just a they could shave. I think they can shave a little bit off of it, but
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, it's their first go at a watch.
yeah.
I think they pulled it off well. They didn't over dramatize the features really. I mean, they kind of stayed in the reasonable realm without going like too like cheesy. But for looks wise, out of all the watches that come out or are coming out like pretty soon, I'm definitely giving it to the Moto 360 for the looks.
Yeah, oh for
Not
sure.
gonna lie.
Even though the software is not, I heard it's not that great, and obviously the battery life is terrible.
I'm sure you could easily root any of the Android based devices. So
I don't know about the watches though.
I'm sure it'll happen.
I'm
It'll
sure.
definitely happen.
But the thing about the iWatch, yeah, there I go again. The Apple Watch is that they actually tailored the OS to be for the watch. Now, granted, Android has their Wear software, but I don't know, man. Something about it, it's just not. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's really completely tailored around the watch experience. You know.
Yeah.
Especially the Moto X, the Moto Watch,
Moto 360.
Moto 360, yes. Since it's a round face and it's like the only round face watch, the OS is not made for it. Like you can,
I think they kind of literally just cut the corners on the screen and were like, okay,
yeah,
kind of just move everything in the center.
the text gets cut off and it's kind of hard to see, you know. But at least this one, the way the icons look, and if you could see this this picture right here, it's not your typical iPhone, you know, iOS thing.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
granted, it might be a little tough to find a specific app in this whole little field of bubbles, but you know, I actually have to use it to see how hard it is to use. But I don't see myself having like 100 apps in this phone, on this watch.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe like 10, 15 at most.
Yeah, like maybe like what's on that screen right there. Maybe a couple little extra on the side, so it shouldn't be that bad. But it's just, to me, I don't know. I guess there's really no other way to do it. But the other thing is the crown, the digital crown. I actually like that. You know, the pinch to zoom. I understand. I was wondering how they're going to work that because it's such a small screen and it's definitely kind of cover when you're trying to touch around the screen. So
Yeah.
I actually tweeted this out. I was comparing the digital crown to like the old school scroll wheels on the iPods.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like it's the next generation of the scroll wheel, you know? The way they were talking about it.
That's the only thing that I can see that they're using a scroll wheel for right now. I actually like the older iPods with the scroll wheel. I thought that was a good UI for the iPod specifically.
Which they just discontinued the iPod Classic.
Yeah. which kind of sucks. I like the iPod Classics. I mean, if you have a crap ton of music, that's the way to go.
Oh yeah. Although the iPod Touches are getting up there. I mean, it's about that time where
And I'd rather just stream music. Anyway.
yeah. I mean, I'm surprised it actually took that long for them to discontinue it, but it was a matter of time. They weren't upgrading that thing for maybe like 5 years, so
Yeah. Would they end off on 7th gen?
maybe
I think that was the last
7th
one,
or
and it was just like, yeah, and all it was just a little bit bigger screen, a little bit higher quality material, a little bit thinner.
Yeah.
So they were kind of just letting it run out its days.
Yep. And it was the last 30-pin dock connector device, so they're completely on the Lightning connector now. Oh, and the other thing, I actually was interested. They didn't show off their rumored two-sided Lightning cable. I've been reading.
Well, I think it's already released.
Really?
I'm pretty sure if you buy if you buy one now, I'm pretty sure you can use the double-sided USB and yeah.
Because I don't remember hearing anything about it, but I'll go back and.
I saw a bunch of pictures on Twitter. Some guy was like, he was showing it off, like the double-sided USB connector. I'm not sure about the double-sided Lightning, but I know I'm pretty sure that they have the double-sided USB out.
I'll have to take a look at that. But because that was also leaked and rumored the weeks leading up to this keynote, so and if it does come with it, I'm surprised they didn't talk about it more. But I don't think they did. It is, but I'll have to take a look.
I'd rather have a cradle, which I think they might give you a cradle of some sort, maybe eventually down the line, because on the back they have like the heart sensors and stuff, and I'm sure they could integrate some sort of battery
I was
charging
talking
feature.
about the iPhone Lightning cable, because the double-sided USB on that. But yeah, the watch does have the magnetic strip thing that charges it. And I definitely would like to have a cradle for that thing, because it just makes sense. You just
drop it on the on a nightstand or whatever.
Yeah, like the Moto 360 has one. It's perfect. Something just like that is what that is.
That's all you really need with a watch. That's the most ideal application for charging. I mean, it's annoying. Like at the end of the night, I'm like trying to fumble, put the USB in, set my alarm, and it's like okay. I'd rather just be able to like have the charging mat or something. But
yeah, and I'm sure they'll sell accessories like a docking cradle for the freaking watch, or a third party
$100 later.
Company will make one, I'm sure. But I think that's a must-have type of thing.
What if they came out with an Apple jewelry box?
Yeah,
with like speakers built in or something, so you can play your music through it.
Yeah,
I'm sure people would buy it.
I'm sure. But talking about the iWatch, God damn it, I keep saying it. Apple Watch. One of the weird features of it is I don't know if you saw it, but there's like a messaging thing, a little app between iWatches, and you could either tap it and make like a little like I don't know what's the signal called, telegraph type of signal to it to another person, or you can replicate your heart rate or your heartbeat and send it to a friend and have them feel it on their watch. To me, that's kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie.
So like someone's literally you're feeling their heartbeat, like you're standing there on the subway and all of a sudden your watch is like
that's
and you're like, God damn.
That's a little creepy.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't care if it's your wife, your girlfriend, or just some friend.
It's kind of random.
Especially
that's their cheesy feature there.
I mean, it sounds cool, but it's really creepy. I mean, if my friend sent me his heart rate, I'd be like, dude, what the hell, man? What the fuck are you doing?
Be like, did we just have that connection?
Yeah.
Like one of those random moments.
Don't touch the tips. Yeah. That type of thing. But yeah.
All right, talk to you guys later.
But yeah, like you can draw little things on there and send it to a friend. Like instead of actually text messaging, you could draw like, let's go out for fish for dinner. So you draw fish, question mark, blah blah blah, and away you go. So I think it's pretty neat.
Let's go for fish.
That's what they showed off at the keynote. And little things like
let's go out for fish.
Yes, let's go out for fish.
Sorry.
But little things like that, I think, are what this Apple Watch are all about.
Yeah. This Apple.
Watch.
Just call it the watch.
Yeah. the watch.
Whatever happened to Swatch? You remember that? That was a big thing when I was like
Swatch?
junior high. Yeah.
Don't remember that.
There's a big store in Times Square. Anyway.
You went to high school at a very different time than I did, so. You know.
Yeah. So we're gonna go to the feature that I mentioned earlier. I guess that's a good time too, because we coming to watch pretty good. So we're gonna move on to the Apple Pay system or app or feature.
Yes.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks pretty interesting. Looks like Google Wallets.
But you know what? A lot of companies have tried a service like this before, and it never took off. Apple's a big enough one of the biggest companies that will be able to actually get this mainstream. You know, they have, granted, the iCloud hacking stuff. I mean, that's besides the point.
Well, they proved that it wasn't to do with iCloud.
Yeah. Honestly, it had to do with the security questions. I mean, when you're a celebrity, what's your dog's name? What's your mother's maiden name? I mean, that's all out in the public.
I don't know. It's probably covered on every friggin' news station at least once.
You go to celebrities' Wikipedia page, you have all the security answers right there, you know? So, but other than that, I think Apple is secure enough where they're able to, people will trust them with their credit cards and information like that. But even then, they apparently don't store the credit card number on the device. It makes like a one-time credit card number or, you know, serial or whatever to use for that payment. So that's a little bit more reassuring. And the cool thing about it is all you have to do is take a picture of your credit card, and it imports the number, the security code, and all that stuff. So
I don't remember what's that technology called. I use it sometimes, like when I'm too lazy to type something out onto my computer for like school. You can just take a picture with your phone and it will put it onto text.
Oh yeah, I forget what it's called, but you could do it with like PDF. You could scan a document, it'll import all the text and stuff in a Word document and stuff like that.
It's pretty like technologically inclined like process too. It's kind of crazy that they're implementing this like already, so
yeah,
it's kind of exciting.
It's really cool. And then it obviously goes into your passbook, and you have all your credit cards there, and you just tap your phone against the little receiver thing at a store that's participating in this, and via NFC it makes the transaction complete. And obviously combine that with the Touch ID that they implemented last year, so if your phone gets stolen, you know, it's your information not just all there. You actually need either your 4-digit PIN or your fingerprints. So that's one of the biggest reasons they included Touch ID last year, is to get people used to having security in their phones for features like this, you know.
Yep.
But I think this is going to be awesome.
Sure.
You know, freaking McDonald's is going to fit all their drive-thrus with this thing. So you see all the people.
Yeah, you won't even need like a teller anymore. It's just like button, swipe phone. All right.
You're gonna see all these people
pick
be
up
like,
food.
"Oh, I want to use this feature. Let's go to McDonald's and tap my phone against the thing to pay for it." You know, like,
yeah.
I'm not.
Well, like my phone already has this feature.
See. And that's the typical Android people. I'm not saying that you're saying it like that, but Android people are always like, "Oh, my phone had this for the last 3 years," you know.
Well, no, I mean it's still a new feature, but I mean. It's just good that it's going over all devices. So now all stores can implement it and have a like pretty much guaranteed chance that someone's going to have the phone on them. Like before, only people with like either Google Wallet. I mean, I know there's Google Wallet. I'm pretty sure for Apple, right? Is that an app on there?
I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it, but it doesn't matter anyway because there's no NFC on the phone, so it wouldn't work.
Yeah, true. This is the first gen with NFC, so. But yeah, that's good that they've finally introduced that. I mean, I feel like that should have been on the 5S anyway, but that's all right.
Yeah, I think first they wanted to implement the Touch ID for security, and then I even said this last year when the 5S came out that I thought that's what they're aiming towards, their own payment system, not just for the App Store and for iTunes and the retail store, for everything. And away we go a year later. So there's that. The other thing is the Apple Watch also has NFC in it, so you could actually just tap your watch against the thing and it also works. So if you have a 5S or a 5 and you have the Apple Watch, you could technically use this pay feature, even though the phone doesn't have NFC included. So that's one reason
Yeah.
to get a watch as well.
Now with this, I made sure to get this over like Samsung because of the watch feature if I ever want to get one, because LG's releasing a new G watch pretty soon. So maybe I'll like if you ever get the Apple Watch and I get the G Watch, we can kind of do a comparison video or something
For sure.
like that, which would be kind of cool.
If I was a main Android person, I would totally get the Moto 360 right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out whether I'd want the Moto 360. I mean, I like the looks of the Moto 360, but the new G Watch I believe is also going to be like the circular format. So I'm gonna kind of wait and see.
Yeah, you might as well wait and see. I mean, there's no rush.
Plus, all the prices are just drove down because of the Apple Watch announcements. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even if you wait 3 months, I'm sure the Moto 360 will go down in price. It's not going to sell like.
Oh yeah, Black Friday, you'll probably see it everywhere.
Yeah, I remember that the Galaxy Watch went on sale like crazy just a few months after it was released last year. So.
Because it was garbage.
Yeah. But the Apple Watches are going to start up at $350 starting off. I mean, that's
kind of pricey.
Yeah, considering
that's a pretty good chunk of money.
Yeah, considering there are two different size watches, one for females, one for males, a bigger size. I got to imagine a smaller one will be $350. Who knows what the bigger one will be? And then who knows if there's different capacity sizes? And then obviously you have the different wrist materials you have to pay for. So.
Empire Craft mentioned is it 18 karat or I thought it was 14 karat gold?
It's one of those. I don't even know. I'm not even getting it, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's not really something that I'm interested in. I don't like gold watches. I think there's a time and place for them, but it's not for an everyday use. So
yeah, I'm more of a silver person. Like I wear silver jewelry as opposed to gold.
I'd rather just have a classic kind of just. I don't know.
Yeah, all my
casual watch.
I'm definitely going to get the regular one because I like the black like aluminum. That looks really sick. The sport one, it's cool, but I don't know the aluminum, the gray.
That's going like towards this iPhone 5C kind of color range with the bands, and it's like you just discontinued that. So I don't know what the link is there. So maybe they're planning on releasing some colorful cases again for the new phones.
Well, I understand because it's apparently lighter, and people that had a hands on they notice a difference, and it's a little bit more durable material. It's not going to scratch as easily. So,
but why not go with tan, white, gray, and black rubber instead of blue, green, pink, and I mean obviously style preferences, but
the bands you could always change. I mean that's
not
a big deal. But
it's just mainly the main watch part that you buy.
Yeah. The thing I was surprised most about the watch, I know we're going back on the watch, but I think we talked about the Apple Pay enough, is that they didn't have different styles. You know, like you have the Note, they have the the Galaxy watches, they have the square one, then they have the one that's like the screen wraps around your wrist. That's their sport model.
It's really thin and it has like a couple apps on the screen, not really much.
I'm actually surprised Apple didn't have that type of watch design as their sport model.
I could definitely see them literally just taking like a chunk of a dock and that's all you're seeing on the screen. It's like, okay. Yeah. But I think they saw how successful the iPod Nano was for people who were just using it as a watch. Yep. That was a big thing. It was like you saw like $60 watch bands for that, and people were buying them like hotcakes.
Yep,
it's kind of crazy.
I really feel that was their trial into the whole watch business. You know, way back then, it's kind of like
because it's kind of like random, and then they went back to like a regular iPod Nano or whatever it is.
Yeah, it looks
style. So.
Yeah, mini iPod Touch, if you will. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, that's all the Apple stuff. I'm really looking forward to all this stuff coming out. The watch doesn't come out until early 2015. And I'm thinking March. You know, that seems about a right time frame. The iPad wasn't originally released in March, so I think that's about right. So I'm looking forward to that being released, and then the phone getting it next week. We'll talk about it next week. Well, maybe the week after because it comes out that Friday. So
and should be good weeks to come. My birthday is on Tuesday. Solar Flare is on Saturday, and Yeah, so Destiny came out. I guess we'll go off on our last topic, kind of just close the show
Yep.
casually. Um, so Destiny came out this week. Rich and I have been playing it. I've been playing it more so, but obviously that's because Rich has work until like 6. Um, but yeah, we played it quite a bit so far for first 2 days, 2 days now
Yeah.
total. Um, and I am level 10. I don't remember what level you left off on,
Jeez, I
but
was like 6 or 7. You passed me.
I think you're 8. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking it quite a bit on our PS4s. Um, I enjoy it a lot, and it's definitely a pretty addicting game. But it's a lot harder than I expected by yourself. So it's definitely a game that you want to play with 2 people if you can.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, playing by yourself on Destiny is not a fun experience. Like when you were
It's
working
like death.
on Wednesday, I played for a little bit, and I was like, I can't. I mean, what's the point? I'm playing by myself. It's like, I'm not a big single player fan to begin with, so
Yeah,
I played Crucible a little bit while you were away, and that was that. But um,
Crucible. I'll talk about this real quick. I'm not happy with the lobbying systems because there's no sorting of like levels and how the game goes. Like literally, you can have a 300 damage weapon or you can have a 20 damage weapon depending on your level because it is a MMORPG FPS. And I don't think it's really fair when you have a dude who's level 22, which the level cap is 20, but you can get like extra experience points by like going really try hard after 20. And this guy was like one-shotting all these people with some like flame pistol, and it would just disintegrate you. And I was like, okay, so that's fun.
yeah, I think there are modes where it actually makes the weapons equal.
Yeah,
I was hearing about it. I don't remember looking into it, but that makes more sense until we get into like the higher levels and we get actually have decent gear where we could actually use the gear as it's meant to be. But
yeah,
the other thing I want to talk about quickly is why I got the PS4 edition, because this freaking kid decided to trade in his Xbox One and he got a PlayStation 4 out of the blue. Now, luckily, I have both systems, so it's whatever. But I'm an Xbox gamer for the longest, number one. And I actually had Destiny pre-ordered on the Xbox One. I had all intentions of getting it. I have a couple of friends on the Xbox. This kid gets on the PlayStation 4, and obviously I got to get on the PlayStation as well because this kid's always on, and everyone else I know on the Xbox is never on. The couple of friends and my cousin, they're not hardcore gamers. I mean, I'm not a hardcore gamer either, but I play a lot more often than they do. And with
yeah,
this type of game, like I mentioned, you want to play with friends. You know, you're in a group and stuff like
yeah.
that. So I got the PlayStation edition. Luckily, it looks better than the Xbox. I played both in the
Yep.
beta, so it's really noticeable. Like it looks much more crisp.
Yeah, and to talk about that, I guess. So I was looking at a video. I don't know if you saw this, but it's ridiculous how ghetto the last gen systems are. They're sub 720p resolution, and the PS3 shadows, it's like 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Like
Yeah.
that's the graphic for the shadow, and it is mind blowing that people are actually paying $60 for this game to play for that quality. But I guess to kind of go against what I'm saying, they did include the entire game on that without cutting like any on-screen enemies, like Borderlands or whatever. When they did that for the Vita, that game was like nasty looking. It was like really crappy graphics, bad FPS. It was maybe hitting 30, and they cut the enemies on screen down to like half. So, I mean, good thing that they got 30 frames per second solid, but it's sub 720p, like really bad graphics, and yeah.
I mean,
So
at that point, why even bother? I mean, it's
I wouldn't have even got it for the last gen, to be honest, because this is our first game that hasn't been ported up.
yep.
Like one of the first games that's multi-platform. This is the one that was made for next gen, ported down for last gen, and it really shows like the difference between the two.
Yeah, like if I had an Xbox 360 only, I would not get Titanfall either. I mean, it's like,
No.
you know, in all those games.
Like now it's kind of the point that you have to upgrade.
Yeah,
I mean, one way or another,
it's a
you're gonna have to, unless you like the old Call of Duties or whatever, which I know like all these esports people do. I mean, keep it and then get the next gen.
Yeah.
That's all you have to really do.
I mean, it's a year later. There are great bundles out there and great deals. I mean, if you buy an Xbox One, you get the Destiny, you get the Madden edition, which comes with Madden, obviously, and then you get a free game on top of that, which you can get.
You can just throw out Madden. We don't even.
Well, yeah.
care.
I mean, but just to say, you actually get 2 games for $400, and then obviously PlayStation has the Destiny edition, white, and all that stuff. So there are nice deals. I'm sure for Black Friday you'll get like 2 games for free and some shit like that. So. You know, it's a great time. I mean, I don't regret getting it at launch because I've had a whole year to play with the systems, and it's completely worth it. But obviously now, I wish I saved a couple of dollars, but never. I would never wait.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Speaking of consoles, I'm hoping to get the Wii U by the end of the year.
Oh, so I got this kid on the Wii U.
It's a resurging. Well, so did Dashy Games. You know, my boy.
Yeah.
You know, what up? It's Dashy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
But I've been playing Mario Kart. That shit is so much fun. I mean.
And like, I don't even have to be looking at my TV. I could literally just be here like this.
Yeah.
Just with the fucking remote.
I have the Wii U in my living room, and I bring the controller in here, and I'm here Skyping or whatever, watching baseball, and I just have the controller playing Mario Kart. I mean, it's freaking awesome.
And we're getting Smash Brothers.
Yes, definitely. Smash Brothers.
That looks sick.
Yes.
And it has Pac-Man and Link in that. Obviously, it has Link. Sorry. It has Link in Mario Kart. That's the point I was going to make.
Downloadable content for once. Nintendo stepping up to the
D
plate.
to the L to the C. Yeah, with decent downloadable content. And also in the Smash Brothers, you can upload your Wii avatar, I guess, and assign them sets of moves.
Yeah.
That's kind of ridiculous.
It's cool though.
But
it's a good.
yeah, I mean it's alright. I won't use it.
Gives you the option.
I'm really hoping to maybe get it. I don't know. Maybe by mid-October if I can get it. Which mid-October, Rich and I are gonna be having like a pretty sick vacay. They'll be vlogging. Maybe we'll do a Generation Tech from my house on a weekend.
That would be awesome. I'll be on the other side of your table.
It'll be kind of like ghetto looking, but
not really.
It'll work.
We'll move your camera a little bit.
You
know, we'll aim it towards your left, and I'll be on the other side of the table, and we'll have the mic in the middle.
Yeah,
it'll be great.
Because Rich will be visiting. We're gonna be hitting up Salem for like 2 days, Salem, Massachusetts, and then we'll be going like up the East Coast back to my house.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all the good New England food. I mean, all the little grub shops and stuff like that in Salem.
You gotta try some clam chowder, bro.
Clam chowder in New England. I love New England clam chowder.
New England style clam chowder. You have that stuff?
Oh yeah.
You guys have like the Campbell's shit up there. You ain't got no good stuff.
There are places that make good New England clam chowder, but I'm sure not as good as there, obviously.
Up here, that buffet that I'm taking you to that Sunday. Oh Lord, baby Jesus!
I better save up an appetite because I'm gonna eat all. Oh.
No, dude. Like the night before, I just gotta like get like some master cleanse going on, just strip out my intestines, and like you're there and you got like blueberry rolled crepes with some handmade whipped cream. And you're like,
shit. Yeah,
shoving them down.
I mean, I'm a foodie. You don't get this big without. I don't like just any food. I mean, if you're talking about junk food or fast food, no. I'm talking about like actual good quality food, and like when I go to places, I like to eat the local food. You know, when I go to Mexico,
well, you can probably get some lobster at that place if you really want to. I won't have any, but you can have some. Yeah. Some Maine lobster. You guys will be like, "Holy shit! It's like a quarter of the price that we actually pay in New York because you're gonna pay like out the ass in New York."
Oh yeah, it's insane to get lobster.
For Maine lobster, anyway.
Yeah.
Maine lobster is shipped all over the world every single day, and people pay so much for it. When right next to my house, you can go there all year long and get a $7 lobster roll. That'll give you like a full-on lobster.
Holy shit! Yeah, over here
it's like what the fuck.
In Long Island, they have lobster rolls. They're like $25, and they barely put any meat on it. So it is ridiculous. But I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. That's the weekend of Columbus Day because you have off that Monday.
Yes.
And you're gonna take off that Thursday or Friday rather. I'll be.
Well, no, Saturday, Sunday.
Well, Saturday and Sunday, but you're gonna be actually taking off from school on that Friday. I'm gonna be driving up Thursday night. You're gonna take the train down to Boston, spend the morning in Boston on Friday, and then Friday afternoon and night in Salem.
Well, yeah, Salem's gonna be sick because it's like right before Halloween, so it's gonna be really cool.
I will be drinking my ass off, and this kid will be chaperoning me, I guess. Walk.
Yeah, I'll be the DD.
Yeah.
But before we end off the show, I just kind of wanted to give a little tribute to September 11th victims and everyone affected by it. So yeah, just keep them in your mind today. We got like 3 more hours, 4 more. Yeah, 3 more hours till the day ends. So if you guys haven't seen that, if you're out of the United States, you probably know what it is. But if you're young enough that you don't, which I know there are people young enough now, so
especially because I'm in New York. I went to high school during 9/11. I'll never forget it. Obviously, I'm not going to go into detail. That's for another day. But you know, it was just a crazy day, and I heard a couple of people that I went to high school were talking about on Twitter that day what happened in school. It brought back a lot of memories. You know, how crazy that day was. But yeah, definitely a tough day. But it's been 13 years, and it's crazy still to think about.
Yeah, man.
But
13 years ago, that's a long time.
Yeah, so you were like 4 years old, man. That's crazy to think about in itself.
Yeah, I know.
I'm surprised you even remember.
Well, my dad got shipped off to Japan that like weekend, or I think it was a weekend then. I don't remember. Might have been a Monday or Tuesday or something. Tuesday, right? Yep. Yeah. So it was like that weekend. Yeah, he got shipped off to Japan. So it's kind of like a big thing.
But yeah.
But yeah. So on that low note or high note, however you want to treat it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching our resurgence episode of Generation Tech, episode 18, recorded live on September 11th, 2014, which is a Thursday. And yeah, so we'll be back every week at hopefully 8 o'clock. So
on Thursdays, you know, because this kid doesn't have school work on Thursday, so it works out perfectly again. And
yep.
Yeah, and then we'll see you guys next week with a whole new set of topics in tech and gaming. That's what we're going for, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yep. We're gonna kind of like streamline the shows.
Yeah, even though we didn't streamline it.
Today. This is our hour opener.
Yeah, it was our Big Bang show to come back, and there was a lot to talk about. I mean, Apple, all that stuff.
Yeah, it was a special event this week. So,
but for the most part, we're gonna slim the show down a little bit when there's slow weeks and stuff like that. So. Don't have to sit through a whole hour.
Yeah, so thanks for watching.
Yeah.
The live show will go on after this. So if you guys are watching this recorded, definitely check us out live so you guys can talk with us after and prior to the show.
And I'll link all our stuff in the description. Matt's channel, his Twitter, my Twitter down here. I'm at NYFan. He's at Matt Burrows _. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week, guys. Thanks a lot for watching.
Peace.